you sound white, or you don't sound like other black people. Hey, what's up guys, it's King Command. I just wanted to talk about something that I've experienced. The idea that all black Americans must sound, act, and be ghetto. So my entire life I've been told I sound white. And this is not only coming from black people, but white people as well. But the thing is, I grew up in the suburbs, and so did my parents and grandparents, so I sound like in the area I grew up in. So no, I'm not from the hood, I'm not from the street, and if I tried to pretend, I'd pretty much sound like,
hey, my man, what it look like? Hey, my man, what it look like?
For me, I grew up in the 90s, right? So while it is easy for me to kind of reject this idea that I must be hood or street now, you know, it was a bit more difficult back then, you know? In the 90s, if you wanted an image of a strong African-American man, you were given only, at least from what I can recall, gang culture. So think Tupac, Biggie, Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, all kind of stuff like that. And as that was fading out, then the game San Andreas was released, which is a great game, but what's the premise of it? An African-American dealing with gang issues.
Oh shit, here we go again.
And it's just like, oh, I'm so tired of this nonsense. So what about well-spoken black men? Well, the two I can think of, Carlton from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Urkel from Family Matters, were mocked. You know, these were a symbol of a nerd, someone who's uncool, and when you're young, you want to be cool, right? So for me, I've primarily felt this in my dating life. Anytime I wanted to get to know a black American girl, I was considered too wide or too corny or too square. Now, I am lucky in the sense that I've oftentimes stayed near metropolitan areas where there are women of all races, and even when I joined the military, I was sent to Korea, and my dating experience there was incredible. I might make a video just on that alone. But recently, after watching a Kelly Stamps video, she was talking about an incident she had during Family Day. Now, if you don't know, when you join the military, while you're in basic training, or at the end of it, I should say, you get a day where your family can come visit you. So in this situation, there were black girls getting together, and one of the parents said, you know, let's take a picture with all the black girls. So she waved Kelly over, but then the girl said no. She said the black girls. Kelly Stamps, if you don't know, is black, and she's absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, being rejected like that seemed to bother her. Now, Kelly is like rich now, so this happened even before her YouTube career, I imagine. And so this is years ago, but yet to see that it still bothered her so much is what inspired me to make this video, you know? So that any other black Americans out there who are facing a situation where you're told you're not black because you're not acting like a complete ape is ridiculous, you know? And do not let experiences with these types of people cause you to hate your own. We as black Americans are very diverse. We've been in this country since its inception, so you can imagine there's any type of American person you can think of, there's a black version. There are black bikers, there are black cowboys, there are black people who are goth, there are black people who are hippies, and there are black people who are professionals. I went to an HBCU for a time, and there were plenty of blacks graduating as doctors, lawyers, engineers, architects. And I just want to say one of the most important things is that no matter our political affiliation, which is what seems to be dividing people a lot these days, I don't care if you're conservative, liberal, moderate, or your religion, whether you're Christian, Jewish, Muslim, we as black Americans have a very unique history and a very unique culture, and I would hate to see it lost to time. Now, with that said, am I saying that you must allow yourself to be disrespected for the sake of the community? No. I've heard stories of black people being told they're too black and teased by other black people. I've heard stories of black people who are light-skinned and told they're not black or too light by other black people. Look, and people are toxic regardless of the race. Cut them out of your life. Life is too short for that. But I'm just saying, if you have some sort of hopes of being the token black within your community and these other people are going to treat you good and everything's going to be great, as someone who grew up in a predominantly white area and was oftentimes the only black person, let me assure you, they're still very well aware that you are black. No matter how much you don't talk about race or how cool you think you are, you will oftentimes hear an interesting comment that goes a little something like this.
Hi, so nice to meet you. Wow, you don't sound like other black people. What were you expecting me to sound like? Telling me I sound nice for a black girl is not a compliment. Someone this week told me, but you're not like black. I'm not black? What?
On top of that, as someone who grew up in California, I have a lot of friends of all races. And, you know, Filipinos, they are very cool with their own people. They greet them warmly. Same for Mexicans. They greet their people warmly. And then here I am. I can't even talk to my own people because I don't know if you're going to be a normal black person or if you're going to be this kind of, oh, I don't like you looking at me, I want to be street nonsense. That's ridiculous. And in fact, I intentionally didn't like it so much that I figured, you know what? I'll risk it. I'm just going to go out of my way to try to say hello to every single black person I could. And if it turns out they are looking for problems, I will just have to do what I can to accommodate them. So all in all, I think it worked for the best. Now, another thing I want to point out is that, at least in my experience in California, when you're often the only black person, one of the things that bother me more than anything is people who want to call you nigga. And I will probably make a video on this. And it's just odd that it's our racial slur that gets to be used casually by everyone. I'm not talking about these are white people. I've had white people say this, but also Latino, Asian, everyone. So many people I've met in my life, so desperate to be able to just call me nigga in a casual way. And I mean, like, I've had blacks say it too, but I tell them, hey, you know, I grew up in a predominantly white area, I had some racist issues, I'm not really cool like that, and they drop it. They're like, okay, they respect it. It's all these people who really want to fight and they're just desperate, and I have to cut them off. You know, at the end of the day, no, this is not something that's negotiable. And if you can't respect that, then you don't respect me. We shouldn't even be associating with to deal with. Look, I think those of us who quote unquote sound white, those of us who don't feel obligated to be hood or street or stupid, are the true representation of black American culture. I feel all this hood, street, gangster nonsense is artificial. I feel it's created by media, and we're kind of suffering due to the fact of having family structure that's been destroyed. We should be able to kind of keep this out of the homes, but it's difficult now. And in fact, speaking of it being constructed, I'm going to link down below a video from Krayzie Bone who talks about the media and rap culture. Also, I'll link a video from Kelly Stamps, her Oreo video. I think it's actually hilarious. If you get a chance, check it out, subscribe to her. But comment down below, have you ever been in a situation where you're told you're not black enough or that you're one of the good ones? Let me know. Well, until next time, don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you're interested, hit the bell icon for notifications, and until then, look out for your mental health and stay on your purpose.